Om Shri Sai Ram. We will start the class with prayers. Oh. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvidavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
We will start with a slight revision of last week. We had looked at 2 shlokas, I think which are family shlokas for you all. I will first take you through them and then we will proceed with today's class. Thank you. So I will say it, I think maybe I will pause, you can repeat along. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. The next shloka which we looked at last week was Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kama Rupini. Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. I hope you all had time to revise and look at it. So today I thought I will, I think it's 11th class, I think 11th session we are having. So I thought that we should make some progress, which from a practical perspective. So I have taken up the Sri Sathya Sai Suprabhatam because it's in Sanskrit and it's something which you all can chant every day morning. So I thought it's a nice place to start. Again, I will use the same approach of reading the letters one by one, each letter, the Suprabhatam, so that you become familiar with reading it and recognizing these letters and how these letters are formed. And then we will look at any grammar, simple grammar, and I will also introduce meanings. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So we have started with, starting with the work itself. So I will just read it quickly and then we will go through each letter. Okay. Shri, Sathya, Sai, Suprabhatam. Okay. So we're going to take each letter and look at it. Okay. The first letter is Shri. The Shri is comprised of three basic letters. Ish, which is the palatal sha, where the tongue has to be parallel to the cavity of the mouth, the roof of the mouth. Sh. It is the same as family as cha. You know that where how you pronounce cha, that's the way this sha is pronounced. Okay, sha. So the first one is sh. The second letter is r. Okay, r, ra, r. And these two are consonants. And the next one is a vowel, which is e, which is a longer e. Okay, e. Ish, ir, and e. So the ish and ir form sh. Okay, and this is the way it is written. And shr plus longer e will give you shri. Okay, so that is the first word, even you can say it's even of the word shri. So this is something which you will come across again and again in any spiritual literature. Shri. This is the way it is written. So I think it will become familiar to you. Okay. The next letter is sa, s, and a makes sa. I don't think anyone would have problem, but it just gives us familiarity to revise. Okay. Sa. The next letter is again a compound consonant. There are three basic letters involved. Ut, which is the dental ta, ut, ya, e, and a. Okay, so it becomes half when when we are trying to combine. So there's the half of it shows up there. E and a form ya. So you have itya. So sa, itya, satya. Okay. The next word is sai. Okay. This is a, the longer a. Okay. Sa. You can see an extra staff or a vertical line is next to the sa to make it sound sa. Okay. Sa. Then the next letter is ye. E plus e is ye. Okay. I think at this point, I would like to comment in many of the Devanagari letters, you would find it slightly written differently. Sai. There they would write sa and e. Just the longer e is normally written there. Sa e. It is a usage in Hindi. It is also correct, but because we are talking Sanskrit here, in Sanskrit, a vowel does not come in the middle. Okay. And the word itself is ai, as Swami would say. So we are using ye. Because this is the way it is written in Sanskrit. It's Telugu also by Swami. So I am just following that. Okay. So you may see when you read, there are many bhajanavalis where you would, the Devanagari, you would find instead of ye, e is written. Okay. So I just wanted you to, then you will say, how come he said that? Why is it so? Because in Hindi, it is acceptable and it's also correct. So I don't want to dispute that, but we are learning Sanskrit here. In Sanskrit, ye is the one which is written. Okay. Sa, ye. Because I'm trying to be as true to Sanskrit as possible. Okay? Not necessarily just the Devanagari script. So that is sa, ye. Then the last word is Suprabhatam. The first letter is Su. Is plus U gives you Su. The next letter is again a compound consonant. There are three letters, up, r, and a. Pra, pra, okay. Pra is written this way. So you can see a pa and a diagonal line sloping leftwards, okay, towards your left. You can see that there. Pra. The next letter is bha. Okay, please note it's the aspirated bha. Okay, the fourth letter in the pa varga. Plus a, which is the longer akara, akara. So you get bha. Okay. The next letter is ta, is it plus a gives you ta. The last letter is Suprabhatam. Suprabhatam. Okay. Just watch the aspirated letters, especially which many Tamil speaking people may ignore. So this bha is very important. It's bha and not pa. Suprapadam, like that also people in Tamil may say it's okay in Tamil, but in Sanskrit it's Suprabhatam. Okay, bha. Okay, so that is just the title of the Suprabhatam itself. So I'm just going to take you through the first verse. I will just read it, just listen. Then we will go letter by letter, word by word, meaning. Okay. Ishvaramba Sutta Shriman Purva Sandhya Pravartate Uttishta. Look at the tha, okay. Uttishta Sathya Saisha Kartavyam Daiva Mahnikam. Okay, so that's the first verse. We're going to go through each of the words letter by letter. Some of you may find it too slow, but I hope you all bear with me because there are people of various levels of mastery over the language. So I'm trying to cater to as many of you as possible. Okay. The first word is Ishvaramba. Okay. E is the vowel, it's a longer ikara. E. The next letter is a compound consonant made of actually three components, but I have made it two here. Ish, uv, and a. Actually, that's a compound consonant. There are actually three parts. I try to save some space because you are already familiar with it. So I'm just going there. Ish plus va gives you shwa, and this is the way it's written. Ishwa. The next word letter is ra. Ir plus a, which is the longer akara, this gives you ra. Okay. I have made all the letters which you can trace here in red, so you can easily relate to them. I hope it helps. The next word is a compound consonant again. Three letters are involved. Ub, and a. Okay. Ba. Ishvaramba. This is not the fourth letter. Okay, it's the third letter. It's not aspirated. Okay, it's not ba. It is ba. Okay. Sometimes we don't distinguish between ba and ba. Just make a note of it. Ishvaramba. Okay. The next letter is su. S plus u gives you su. Okay. And the next letter is ta. It plus a gives you ta. Su ta. I think I have not highlighted it in the color. Okay. The next word is Shriman. The first letter is Shri. We have already looked at it. Vish plus Ir plus E, which is the longer one, gives you Shri. The next letter is Ma. Plus A gives you Ma. The last letter is In. Okay. So Ishvaramba Sutta Shri Man. Okay, that is the first part of half of the first line in the Suprabhatam first verse. So we are going to the next part of the line. Purva Sandhya Pravartate. Okay. The first letter is Pu. Up plus U, which is the longer Ukara, gives you Pu. Okay. The next letter is a compound consonant combining three letters, Ir, U, and A. Okay. So Irva, as you can see, Ir, whenever Ir precedes in a compound consonant, Ir is always, there's a hook on at the top. Okay, a hook. So when you read it, you should more or less read it this way. Irva. Okay. Purva. The next word is Sandhya. The first letter is Sa, which is plus A gives you Sa. The next letter is a compound consonant which comprises of three consonants and one vowel. Okay. In, Id. So that this is the fourth letter in Sathya Varga. Okay. The. Okay, that last one. So that is Id. Then the next letter is Ya, E. Then we have a longer Akara vowel, which is Akara. Okay. A. Indya. That's the way it's written. In, Id, Ya, A. Indya. Okay. Try to pronounce it with that when you give the Sandhya. Okay. That's the way it's correctly pronounced. Practice it, then you'll get better at it. Okay. Purva Sandhya. The next letter is Pra, which is again a compound consonant. Up, Ir, and A is Pra. I think we have already looked at it before. So Suprabhatam. So we have seen Pra. Next letter is Va. U plus A gives you Va. The next one is again a compound consonant comprising of three letters. U, Ir, It, and Irta. As you can see, again, Ra is, when it precedes in a compound consonant, the first letter, it's a hook at the top. Irta. Okay. The next letter is Te, which is It plus A gives you Te. Pra, Va, Irta, Te. Pravartate. Okay. So Purva Sandhya Pravartate. Okay. I hope that's clear. So we are going to the second line in that verse. Uttishta Sathya Saisha. Uttishta Sathya Sathya Saisha. Okay. The first letter is U. I think all of you are familiar with the vowel U, short ukara. The next one is again a compound consonant. 3 letters involved. It, and E. Okay. Itti. Okay, and this is the way it is written. Make a note of it. Ikara, this is generally written with this staff in the front of the letter and a curve which connects, semicircle of sort, connects both of them. Okay, Uttishta, Utti. The next one is Ishta. Okay, it's a compound consonant. Ish is the cerebral sh, where the tongue should point upwards towards the roof of the mouth. The next letter is Tha, which is the aspirated takar. The ta varga, the second letter, which is aspirated with a lot of air, a puff of air. Ut. The next one is A. Ish, that becomes half almost, and Tha. Ish, Tha, gives you Shtha. Okay. Uttishta. Okay. Uttishta means actually wake up. To say this word, you have to wake up. When you say it, you will wake up. Uttishta. Okay. The next letter is, the next word is Sathya Saisha. Letter is Sa, is plus A is Sa. I think we have already looked at it. The next one is a compound consonant, 3 letters, It, E, and A. Thya. The next one is Sa, is plus A, Sa. The next letter is Yi. It's a longer one, okay? Just note. Yi, E plus E, Yi, Ish plus A, Sha. That is a palatal Sha, okay? Where the tongue will be parallel to the roof of the mouth. Okay, Sa, Sha. Some of this I'm actually repeating, but I hope you don't mind. I may rush through them because we have already looked at it, but I think again and again we look at Devanagari letters, the more familiar we will become. And there's a reason why I'm breaking them down to each component, because you will understand it later, why we need to understand the broken down pieces of a letter also, because in other things like Sandhi and Samasa, all these become important. We need to know what it is, okay? That's the reason I'm doing it. And it also will help you get the pronunciation right. Okay, so what are each of the letters and how they should be pronounced. Okay, so I hope that is useful for anyone who is new to the language and new to Devanagari and Sanskrit. Okay. The last part, the second half of the second line in the first verse is Kartavyam Daiva Mahnikam. Okay. First letter is, word is Kartavyam. We will look at it. The first letter is Ka. Ik plus A gives you Ka. The next one is again a compound consonant. Ir, It, and A gives you Irtha. Okay, we have already looked at Irtha, so I'm not going to dwell on too much. Irtha. The next one, Vyam, comprised of U, E, A, and This is the Anuswara, which is the dot at the top. Okay, Vyam, and this is the way it is written. Okay, the half of the word is in the front, and Ya and Vyam. Okay, Kartavyam. Kartavyam. Okay. The last word is Daiva Mahnikam. The first letter is Dai. Id, which is the third letter, is in the Tha Varga. Id. Okay. And I gives you Dai. Okay. The next letter is Va. This U plus A gives you Va. The next letter is ma, plus a, which is the longer akara, gives you ma. Just watch this vertical line or staff, extra staff next to ma. This is a compound consonant comprising of 3 letters, in, and e. Okay, it's written this way, khni. I will just pause and tell you that this is also a letter which is sometimes pronounced differently. I don't want to get into the discussions. People pronounce it as inhi, but it is actually the way it's written is khni, in e, khni. Okay. The last, so the next letter is ka, which is plus a, is ka. And the last letter is Okay. Daiva mahnikam. Daiva mahnikam. That is this letter. So that we have sort of covered the first verse, the first 2 lines of the Suprabhatam. Okay. So now I'm going to go into meanings. But before I go to meaning, I need to introduce, I think last week also I introduced a concept called Sandhi. So I'm going to dwell on it a little for a few minutes to explain that. Not too advanced, but at least basic concept of what is a Sandhi. Okay. So let's take the word Ishvaramba. Because to understand the meaning of any word, we need to understand the components of the word. So let's take a look at this word Ishvaramba. Okay, Ishvaramba. I think we have already looked at it. I hope I am not touching too much. This Ishvaramba word comprises of 2 words. Ishvara plus Amba. So there are 2 distinct words which are put together called Ishvaramba. Ishvara Amba. What happens is when you put 2 together, they are joining. When they join, there's a joint. So what happens? There is some change which takes place. We are going to look at what that change is. This ra comprises of 2 letters, ir and a consonant ir and a vowel a. Ir a. And here this word is starting with the letter a. So the first one is a. Okay. So when they're joining together, what is happening is this ir plus a becomes ra. How does it become? This a from this ir, this ra, and a which is following, they join to make a, longer a. Okay. So what you end up is ir plus a, which is the longer a, you get ra. Okay. I think many people who know the Indian languages will know this type of joining, but I don't know if the youngsters, I think there are a few youngsters, they may not be familiar. So I thought I will explain the concept. Okay. So because of this combination, this ir plus a now becomes ra. Ishvaramba. Okay. So this whole process is called Sandhi. Sandhi. Okay. So I'm just going to dwell a little more on why a Sandhi is needed. Why can't these words stay separately and so on. Okay. So I have introduced 2 words here, which is some grammar words. I won't dwell too much on them, but I think some basic introduction to this concept is necessary for a Sanskrit student. And so I'm just giving you the basic introduction to the concept. Okay. If you want advance, I think I'm not planning to cover for this course, but I think there are other places you can learn. But when you go there, you will at least have the context. So to that extent, I think it's useful. So I am spending a little bit of time. Okay. The first word which I want you to come to understand is called Samasa. Samasa. Okay. The second one is Sandhi. Sandhi. Okay. So first let's say, what is this Samasa? So I've given this definition here as Samasa means compound words, which are actually, I should say, which are formed by joining two or more words. So Samasa is anything, just the way you have compound consonant, you have compound words, which are called Samasa. Okay. Sanskrit is full of Samasa. Like Ishvara and Amba are put together. Why should they be put together? The reason is, when there are two words, if you say Ishvara, Amba, they need to have some relationship explained. Okay. So to make it compact, you put them together so that the reader can have multiple meanings according to their own level of understanding. So for example, Ishvara means mother. So Lord, Amba means mother. Okay. Lord, mother means, what does the Lord mother? Lord's mother, mother of the Lord, something like that. You need to have meaning. So when you put these together, you can come up with different meanings. In every language, actually, samasas exist. Even in English, it exists, but they may have not explained it properly. Okay. For example, if you say shepherd, there's a word called shepherd. Actually, it is made of two individual words, which one is sheep, other one is herd. Shepherd is one who herds the sheep. Okay. So the two words are sheep and herd. Okay. The person who herds the sheep is called shepherd. Okay. But if you say sheep means a group of sheep, herd also means a group of sheep. Okay. But when you put it together, it means completely different. It means someone who is associated with herding the sheep is called shepherd. Okay. The same thing happens in things, something like goldsmith. Okay. One who works with the smith is a one workman. Who works with gold is called goldsmith. Okay. So a person who works with gold is called goldsmith, ironsmith or blacksmith. Then there is this concept of, even there are names which in English people have, like Thompson, Jefferson. Actually how these originated was, if you are Tom, his son is called Thompson, son of Tom. Okay. So to explain certain meanings, things were put together. So such practice exists in all languages. In Sanskrit, it is the technical term, and there are various kinds of samasas. That itself is a branch of study. Okay, how you put together words and how they change and things like that. There are different categories of samasas. I will not go into that detail, but just understand that words can be put together to create a compound word, and that will have a completely different meaning. The sum of the parts is greater than the sum individual parts. Okay, that's it. So that's called samasa. Okay, I think that's good enough as an introduction. I hope it's not too boring of a subject, but the grammar can be boring, but I thought I would just introduce the concept. Then comes what's called sandhi. So when you put two things together, something can happen. There's an interaction, there's a chemistry. At the same time, you also want to make sure that they are connected with strong. Okay. So the concept of joint is coming. Whenever we build something, when we put two things together, there are different kinds of joints. People who work with wood, or a variety of things. You had a hook head. Hook is also a joint. So that way they don't come apart. Okay. But the thing is, when the sounds also come together, there is a reaction between the sounds, and the reaction forms a completely different. It's like chemistry. People will understand when you put two things together, it can become something else because there's a force, a molecular force. Same way, when sounds are put together, apparently there is the reaction, and reaction changes certain things. Okay, this is the theory of the scientific theory of sound. The rishis are supposed to have studied it, and they have discovered how these have come together and what's the real energy reaction between the sounds. Okay, after all, the sound is energy. Okay, there are various types of sandhis. I'm not going to go into detail, but just understand. I will explain the rules where and when we come across something. And through our next sessions in this course, you will find out the most common sandhis which are prevalent. Okay, if you study sandhis, there are hundreds of rules, but the most common ones may be 10, 20 rules, and we will cover them in the next few sessions whenever we come across those sandhis. Okay, so sandhis, like as I said, in a body building, we have joints also. Different joints have, some joints have to be flexible, the joints have to be strong. So it gives you a physical structure, just the way physical structures have sandhi. Sound also has its structures, and it's very, very important because they enhances the strength of the compound word. Okay, so that is the whole idea. I've said, it enhances strength and the potency of the sound vibration. It also has an elegance. It sounds also, it flows well, and it helps the person pronounce it also well. So there are many factors I think the rishis have looked at when they formed these rules. So I thought I will just highlight that. It's a side topic, but I think it's an important topic. You need to understand these are two concepts which are prevalent in Sanskrit, and you will come across in many. Okay, I've just given you a basic. We looked at Ishvara Amba. A plus A becomes A. So there are some rules. I thought I will just introduce that rule. Yes, okay. So I will just go through it quickly. I hope I'm not too rushing. I can spend more time if you all want. Swara, swara, swara. I hope you all remember. Swara means vowel. Sandhi. Okay, means sandhi is a joint. Okay, when two vowels come together, what is the joint is explained here. Again, simple vowels. Okay, swara sandhi. One. This is one type of swara sandhi. Okay, I will read the word and explain. I hope it's not too much. You can practice reading. Sa, va, irna, irna, savarna, dirgha, irgha, sandhi. Okay, savarna, dirgha, sandhi. Varna means same type. Okay, same kind. Savarna. Savarna means same kind. Okay. Dirgha. Dirgha means longer. Sandhi. When things of the same come together, that becomes long. That's what it means. Okay. When the vowels, which is swara, of the same kind, savarna, sandhi is formed. And these are the rules. Just look at it. If it is too much, just ignore it. But I will just explain. Okay. For example, the final vowel. So these are two vowels coming together. That means the first word is ending in a vowel. The second word is starting with a vowel. Okay. And if those two vowels are of the same kind, then dirgha sandhis, so they become long. For example, if the first word ends in either a or a, and the second word starts with a or a, because they're the same kind, akara, okay, they become a. So in Ishvara, the last part is a. The next word is amba, a, so that becomes a. Okay. The same way, e plus e on the first end of the first word, and e plus e on the second starting of the second word, it will give you e. Okay, we can look at like When I come, I will point out, then you'll be able to recognize it. Then U plus U, ending of the first word, and the U plus U of the starting of the second word. If they come together, you get a longer U. Okay. This is the mathematics of language. R plus R, ending in the first word, and the beginning of the first word, if it is R, so R and R or R, you get a longer R. Okay. So this is a rule. So either I will just introduce you. Don't have to memorize, but it should be simple. I just want you to understand the concept. Okay. Because I will be using these Sandhi rules later on in some other words. Okay. So with those words, I'm going to the next slide. So I'm just explaining to you the Sandhi which we explained. Ishvaramba, I think I've already done it, but I'm just repeating. Ishvara is the first word. And Amba is the second word. This Ra has Ir and A. So it actually, the word ends in an vowel, akar, A. And that A joins with this A. A plus A join, and they create what's called A. So then it becomes Ir plus A becomes Ra, Ishvaramba. So that is what happens, and I explained the rule above. And so this is an example of that. Okay. So now we come to, I hope it's not too slow for you all, but I thought I will take my time and explain. Okay. Now we come to the word Ishvaramba. Okay. What is the meaning of Ishvaramba? There are multiple meanings. Okay. So we'll go through those meanings. Ishvaramba means we will say, oh, Swami's mother is Ishvaramba. So Ishvaramba Sutta. Just the way Kaushalya, Supraja, like that in, the most famous Venkatesha Suprabhatam. So Kaushalya's son is Rama. So Ishvaramba means Ishvaramba is the mother's name. So you can say name of Mother Ishvaramba. Swami's mother's name is Ishvaramba. That is one meaning. Then there are other meanings also which can be derived from that. Okay. So I'm just going to go through meanings. So there are two words. One is Ishvara. Other one is Amba. Okay. So you can say Mother Amba. Amba means mother. Ishvara means Lord. You can say mother of Ishvara. Ishvara's Amma. Ishvara's Amma. Mother of Ishvaramba. That is one meaning. Why Ishvaramba is called? Because Swami's mother, I think she was renamed as Ishvaramba by Swami's grandfather. Okay. Then it can also mean Ishvara, who is the mother. It's also another meaning you can derive from that. Okay. God is, in Tamil they will say Tayu Manavan, God who became the mother. Okay. The maternal. Okay. Swami, we also pray to Swami as Mother Sai. So actually, when the Lord, he takes the form of a mother, he is Ishvaramba. The Lord who is the mother. Mother Sai, Ishvaramba. So that is also another meaning. So you are looking at the maternal aspect of God himself. Okay. Then a third meaning can be one whose mother is Ishvara. Okay. A person whose mother is Ishvara, that person is also Ishvaramba. Okay. So there are three meanings you can take from this word Ishvaramba. Okay. That is the beauty of Samasa. The two words are put together. The level of meaning is all dependent on our own visualization and imagination. Okay. There is no stoppage. So you can see for this, there are four different meanings I have put here. There can be multiple more meanings. It can also mean another meaning which I have not put here. Ishvara, if you go into Advaitic concept, Ishvara is the form of God, original creation. Okay. Swami always says, I am the one who is beyond the Ishvara also, you see. The unmanifested Brahman, from that only Ishvara itself originated as part of creation, is the Advaitic philosophy. Okay. So that means, who gave birth to that Ishvara? Who is that? It's a Parabrahman. That meaning is also there. So that meaning I have not even put here. That means the Brahman, the unmanifest Brahman, is Ishvaramba. Okay. So you can see the multiple layers of meaning which we can derive from one word. Okay, we have just touched one word. I don't want to dwell like this on every word, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of the beauty of Sanskrit. Because if, for example, there are many people say, why do we have to chant, Suprabhatam in Sanskrit? We'll translate everything in English, and I think there is an English version of Suprabhatam also. The divine, the resplendent son of divine mother or something like that. Okay. All this is lost. You will not be able to understand the meaning of the word Ishvaramba if you translate it into another language, where you don't understand what is Ishvara, what is Amba. Okay. Because, see, many people say every day you chant Suprabhatam, from my childhood, I'm chanting Suprabhatam. You say, if you chant Suprabhatam every day, you will reach God. Okay. Just mechanically chanting does not help. Because we should understand the meaning, we should contemplate on it, and it should reflect in our life. Only then we will reach God. Otherwise, you can chant for Swami will say thousands of births. The same thing, it will not take you. So that is why learning the language, learning each component, each word, helps us in contemplating on the meaning of the embedded in that. Okay. For example, if you want to study chemistry, okay, they will say water is H2O. This is the language of chemistry, H2O. Okay. If a student doesn't understand H2O, he will not understand the chemical as composition of water itself. You can say, translate, we should not say H2O, say water. But if you want to study chemistry, you need to learn what is H2O. The chemist will only use those words, okay? Hydrogen dioxide or whatever it is. Because they know it's composed of hydrogen, 2 molecules, and then oxygen, 1 molecule, it forms. And then what happens, the reactions of water with various things, all that can be studied only if you know it's H2O, okay? English is maybe simple. It's okay as a small child in kindergarten understanding water. But if you want to understand the chemical composition of water and how it works in this world, you need to go into the language of chemistry, which is H2O. Okay. So same thing with this. Okay. This is like H2O, Ishvara, Amba. Okay. So that is the way we should understand. Okay. So I just want to dwell a little bit. It's maybe a bit too much philosophy, but I think it is the philosophy of meaning of words also. I think I want you to emphasize. With the importance of learning Sanskrit should come through. The whole idea of introduction or practical is just to make you understand why learning Sanskrit is important. And by learning it properly, how it can help you even in the path of spirituality. Not end up in the path of spirituality, it is a must. Okay. So meaning, many people say you chant something, like, many people learn Vedas and they will say you chant, and one day you will know the meaning. But we need to understand the various levels of meanings in everything which we do, whether it's bhajans, with Suprabhatam, Ashtotram, everything has multiple levels of meanings. So I just want to give you some idea of the meaning. That is not the whole purpose of my course. I'm not going to dwell on this too much, okay? But I just wanted to give you the layers of meaning which you need to know of for you to get full benefit from your sadhana of even chanting Suprabhatam on a regular basis. Okay. So first, let's look at the first level of meaning called Vag Artha. Vag Artha. Vag means word. Okay, Artha. So for example, we know Ishvara means God. Amba means mother. So each word individually you know. Okay. we should know the meaning. Sutta means son, things like that. So that is the level of word and its meaning. Okay. Then something called Vachyartha comes. That is when words are put together, there's another meaning, additional meaning which comes. Okay. Ishvara, you understand the meaning. Amba means it is something. But when you put together, it's Ishvara Amba, Sutta, Shriman. So there are four words come. Ishvara Amba, Sutta, Shriman, the first line. The first half of the first line. That has a meaning. When you put things together, that comes with a multiple variety of meaning. So that the sentence has a meaning. Each word in the sentence have a meaning. But when you put together in a sentence, it means something meaningful, isn't it? So Vachyartha is important. That is, when words are strung together in a sentence, there's a meaning which is embedded in the sentence, because there are meanings between the words. They say read between the letters. So it's read between the words also in a sentence. So that gives you Vachyartha. Then what is called Lakshyartha. Lakshyartha means it's an implied meaning of the word. So I will go to another example is, we looked at Manasa Bhajare Guru Charanam. Dustara Bhava Sagara Taranam. Let's take the word Bhava Sagara. Bhava means existence. Sagara means ocean. When I look at it in my existence, is it ocean? No. Our existence is like the ocean. Okay. Our existence is not ocean. Ocean, we know, is a large sea. But why is it life is called ocean? Because there are waves. There can be sometimes you can drown in it. All that is implied meaning. Okay. Bhava Sagara. Okay. Bhava has meaning existence. Sagara means ocean. Ocean of existence means it's completely different. That is a Vachyartha, but Vachyartha also implies something. So you need to understand that implied meaning also. Okay. That's called Lakshyartha. Okay. Then we come to something called Visheshartha. Visheshartha is the inner meaning or concept of a word. Okay. So for example, Bhava Sagara, for example, it is a rough sea. It can be a rough sea. You can. But what does it mean? How can existence be a rough sea? You can say, oh, I am having difficulties, everything is a problem. That is at the worldly level. But if you take it to the next level, it says, what is the problem? It is what is caused in our mind. It is on our attachment. All that is come into play. Bhavasagara means not only living in this world, it's also the attachments associated with it, which causes the problem. So it is not even the world which is the problem, which is the attachment in our mind, which is the problem. Okay. That is not implied in the words. External words imply something inside. That's called inner meaning. Okay. That is called Visheshartha or Tattvartha. To understand this Tattvartha, Visheshartha, how? That also we should understand, because we should not just imagine and say this is the principle. For that, generally, you have to have what's called Shastra Pramana. In the Shastras, there should be a statement which should support your understanding of this Tattva. Okay, this philosophical truth. For that, you need to study Shastra to understand this. All this is okay. But if you study the Upanishads, if you study the Vedas, the Swami's teachings, Vahinis, then you will understand the Visheshartha or Tattvartha. Okay. Then the last one is called Anubhava Artha. That means we should experientially realize it. Okay. For example, people say, I am God. Swami says, you need to realize that you are God. You need to realize that you are divine. That is Anubhava. So that become part of our life. Every day, every moment, we should be living in that awareness. That comes with Anubhavartha, which is the ultimate result of sadhana. Okay. So now we are at the moment today looking at Vagartha and Vachyartha. Okay. but there are other layers of meaning. That is why you need to do sadhana. Okay. So I thought I will just dwell on it. I hope it's not too much, because we should not, when we are reading these Sanskrit verses, we should not stop at this word meaning, sentence meaning, implied meaning. All this is, gradually increases in complexity. Visheshartha we have to read. Okay, we have to read something from scriptures. That's the study of Sai literature, Swami, is for every devotee. Only then we will be able to understand the Visheshartha Tattva. And then, of course, we have to practice it in our own life. That's each one of us have to do it ourselves. So I thought I will just dwell on it. But we are going to only focus on this to some extent here. And maybe, if possible, I will just refer to this. If I can get some quotations, or if some excerpts from Swami's teachings, then we will touch them also, because it's important. Okay. The next two words, Ishvaramba, we covered. Suta means child. Okay. Suta is child. The next word is Shri Man. Okay, the Shri we are all familiar. We have already seen it twice. Man. Okay. One who possesses Shri. Shri is, I've just put two words here, wealth and auspiciousness. Swami has talked a lot about Shri. The Shri is that which will never be destroyed, that will never stop existing. Swami has said the word, the epithet, Shri, is generally put for Rama. All the avatars, they generally start the name with Shri. The reason Swami says, when you take an avatar, the body can go. The body will go, it will go through the ravages of time, the body will be left. But the avatars embody a principle, a divine principle. To denote that divine principle, they always said Sri Rama, Sri Krishna. So Sri is actually nothing but divinity. The undecaying, undestroyable divinity is denoted by Sri. Okay, that's why Swami's name is also Sri Sathya Sai. Because Sathya Sai is the form, it may go, or it is not there physically. But because when it's Sri Sathya Sai, is always present. It will always be present forever. Okay, so that Shri Man, that Shri Man. So now we are going to the word Man. It's a technical term. It's called Pratyaya in Sanskrit. I won't dwell too much. Pratyaya is an affix or a suffix. Okay, Shri Man means one who possesses Shri, one who has within him the Shri. So similar words are there. Dhiman. Dhiman means knowledge. One who has is called Man. So this Man attached of Man is called that Pratyaya, the suffix is called Matub in Sanskrit. It basically says whoever that name denotes a person who has it. Shriman, Dhiman. Another word which I think all of you are familiar, Hanuman. Why is Hanuman is called Hanuman? We have a word Hanuman and Hanuman. Okay, Shriman and Shriman, Bhagavan and Bhagavan. So we should understand what these words mean. Okay, Shriman is the noun, Shriman. But when you address the Shriman, you will say Shriman. Oh, Shriman. In Sanskrit, when you call somebody who is Shriman, you will say Shriman. For example, if it's a Bhagavan, when you call him, you will say Bhagavan. Like Sri Bhagavan Tava Suprabhatam, you'll have come across. So when you address somebody, when you call out to somebody, the word sort of changes. Okay, Shriman will change into Shriman. Hey Shriman. Hey Bhagavan. When you address Bhagavan, you'll say Bhagavan. Okay. So Hanuman is, when he's addressed, he's called Hanuman. Hey Hanuman. Hanu means jaw. Man means who has the jaw. Because of the monkey face, he was called Hanuman. Okay, that's why the word Hanuman comes. Another word is Brahman. We have discussed it. Brah, that word means that which keeps on expanding. The scientists say the universe is continuously expanding. Okay. They say the stars are moving away from each other. They say this elasticity of the world is expanding. That was seen by the rishis long time. That's the word brah. That which is continuously expanding is called brah. Man means who has it within him. That is how the word Brahman itself comes. Okay. So I thought I will just address that. So Shriman means one within whom all this auspiciousness, all the wealth in this world, everything is contained in that person, that supreme being is Shriman. Okay. So I think it's 10 o'clock. I think I will stop here. I think I covered a variety of topics and things like that. I don't know whether it's too much or too less. I thought I will slowly introduce some of these rather than boring letter by letter. So I thought I will talk about this. If anyone has any questions, I will address them. Otherwise, I will. I see one sister has asked a question. Can you explain more about Shastra Pranayama? Okay. So the word is Pramana. Pramana means that which sort of functions as a yardstick. Okay. So for example, for analyzing anything in this world, understanding anything, you need to have what I would call pramanas. Benchmarks or yardsticks by which you can understand a concept. Okay. So pratyaksha pramana is one. So for example, what you see is, she says, I saw that, and that becomes, I heard that. All these are pramana. That which is seen, that which is heard. Okay. One is pratyaksha pramana, the other one is shrota pramana. One you hear. Okay. These are also, say, I so and so said this. Okay. Oh, I saw this happen. So these are some of the benchmarks of yardsticks for saying that this is a fact. Okay. That is one level. Okay. Then Anumana Pramana is something. Okay. Anumana means you sort of evaluate, you by reasoning, you can evaluate that this is what is. For example, if there's smoke coming, even if you don't see the fire, you can say there is fire. That is by extension of the logic. You think there has to be fire if there's smoke. Okay, that is another pramana. Then the pramana is Shastra. That means scriptures, either Vedas. If you take the Sanatana Dharma, it's Vedas. So Upanishad should contain that. Pramana. Okay, that's the word. Okay, so for example, I heard the word Sutta. Okay, I will dwell on it. I think there's another question. So for example, Ishvarampa Sutta. Okay, we are singing Suprabhatam. We are trying to wake Swami up. Okay, that's the meaning. Early morning, somebody is sleeping, so you go and say, please wake up, please wake up. Okay. Is God sleeping that he has to wake up? Oh, see, if such a God is there, then there's no use for us. Because when we really need him, if he's sleeping, unless we wake him up, then what's the point? So God doesn't need to be woken up. Okay. Though, it may be sentimentally, it's nice, Lord is sleeping, let him sleep, I will wake him up slowly, I will sing so pleasant. That's also love. I'm not denying that there's love there. But the thing, the Lord never sleeps. If he's sleeping, the world will come to, stop. So he can't afford to sleep. So when a Lord like that, then why are we singing? Okay. So that kind of understanding comes from what's called Anumana. Okay. Pratyaksh, if you see the Lord sleeping, he's sleeping, you can say. But a person who understands will say, no, he's not sleeping, he cannot sleep. That's Anumana. So, for example, if somebody looks at me, they will say this person looks at, how Arun looks like this, these are his features, this. But is that the whole of me? Can you see what my thoughts are? So there's so much which you can't see, but you can guess. But even guess will go out at some point. Okay. Then you go to what's called Shastra. So in this case, Ishvaramba Sutta means people can say Ishvaramba's son, Sri Sathya Sai. Okay. But then if that Sathya Sai has to be woken up, then there's something wrong. So actually, what are we waking up is the next question. Then we can say Ishvaramba's son means, Ishvara means, I already said Ishvara means God, Ishvara, Amba means Brahman. That son means we can see ourselves. Then, if that's the meaning, then you will say, how can you say you are son of God? That's also a question, isn't it? For that, we had to find a Shastra Pramana. In the Shastra, is it said? Of course, in Upanishads, there's a statement called Shrinvant Vishve Amritasya Putraha. Okay, Swami quotes this often. Shrinvant Vishve Amritasya Putraha. That means Amritam means that which is never destroyed, which is Brahman, God, Parabrahman. Everyone is a child of that. Okay, so Vedas address us as the children of God. So that is the Shastra Pramana. So if there is no statement I can come up with, I cannot say this is the meaning. Okay, so you need to be able to refer to a Shastra and say this meaning is embedded in this Shastric injunction. Okay, so there are things like that. That's called Shastra Pramana. So I hope I answered that question. If it is too much, if there are any other questions, I will.
I would like to about Sriman. Can you explain it again? I would like to have a little bit more clear about that, or Brahman following that. So Sriman. No, would you please, what's the difference between Sriman and Sriman?
Okay.
Thank you.
We are going into a bit of grammar, brother, but okay. In Sanskrit, there's a concept called Vibhakti. I don't know whether you've heard that. Vibhakti means, if you take a word Rama, let's say, I will take the word Rama. Okay. Ramaha is called the first Vibhakti. It is a noun as is. Okay. Then there are other sentences which we can form with this Rama. Okay. For example, I am praying to Rama. Okay. I am singing to this Rama. Okay. Then the word changes to something called Ramam. Like Ramam Bhaje. Okay. That means you sing to this drama. In English, for example, he is a noun. If you want to give something to somebody, give it to him. Him, then you use the word him. Is him and he are related? Yes, they are related, but the meaning is completely different. Okay. So there, if it belongs to it belongs to Rama. I am the child of Rama means Ramasya Putraha. The word Rama changes to Ramasya. Okay. So there are 7 different kinds of changes to a noun. Okay. And one of the ones which are called is Sambodhana. Sambodhana means you call out to somebody. For example, in Tamil, for example, in many Indian languages, if Rama is there, if you want to call him, you will say Rama. Okay. So you will change add the A at the end. Okay. When you're calling somebody, Krishna, in Tamil we will say Krishna. Okay. But in Sanskrit, when you address Krishna, you will get Hey Krishna, Hey Rama. Like that only Sanskrit was. That's called Sambodhana Vibhakti. Okay. So in the case of Bhagavan, Bhagavan is the first noun, like he. Hey Bhagavan, if you want to call, in Tamil, in Sanskrit, you will say Hey Bhagavan. That va becomes va. Okay, that's the way Sanskrit is. So Shriman, when you address the Shriman, you will say, hey Shriman. Okay, and that is the difference between man and man. Okay, for example, if you take the word Saraswati, I'm just going little, because we have I will just explain to you, because sometimes people look at this and say which is right, which is wrong. Okay, I've taken the words, these words which we looked at, so I just want to cover that. Saraswati. Okay, the last letter is T. Okay, but actually the noun is Saraswati. The T has to be longer. Okay, Saraswati. But why it is a Saraswati means you're calling to Saraswati. When you call Saraswati, the T long becomes short. That's the way in Sanskrit. Okay, so the thing is, sometimes we'll get into arguments. Is Saraswati with the short E is right or long E is? No, both are correct. How you use it, where you use it, what it means is what changes. Okay, so Saraswati, the noun, when you call Saraswati, it becomes short E, Saraswati. So Bhagavan becomes Bhagavan. Shriman becomes Shriman when you call out to them. Okay, that's called Sambodhana Vibhakti. I hope that answers at least part of your question. Is that okay, Brother Vimaleshan?
Yes, thank you very much. That
Okay.
helps, yeah.
Because otherwise we always run into problem. Is it right? Is it right? We should understand what's the meaning, what's the context, and how it is used.
Thank you.
You want me to cover the Brahman also?
Yeah, please. Yeah, yes.
So you see, Brahman, I am talking about it. It's a very controversial thing. Many people say Brahman. They will say in Puttaparthi people are singing, how can you, brother, say this? Okay. I don't want to debate, but if you look at a word, you need to understand what are the components which go into this. Brh, that's the verb. Okay, the root verb. And that means that which continuously expands. Okay. Mat. See, the word mat, vat, matu pradaya becomes sometimes man, sometimes it becomes one. Okay, even if you take the word Bhagavan, we'll just look at the word Bhagavan. Bhaga is similar to Shri. I don't want to get into the details. There is discourse Swami, I think there's one discourse where Swami is speaking about Bhagavan for about 10-15 minutes. If you want, I will send you the discourse. So Bhaga means he possesses some 6-7 qualities. Okay. Vat, so in some cases, the matu pratyaya becomes mat or vat. Okay. Balavat. Balavan, we will say. Again, the same thing. One who has bala is called balavan. So there are some grammatical rules why sometimes it's vat and sometimes it's mat. So Shriman, Dhiman, Hanuman, Brahman, Atman, all these are matu pratyaya. Okay. But if some of them are Balavan, Balavan. Okay. Bhagavan. So all of them are of the same class. So where basically you have attached a suffix which gives meaning. So the word Brahman means that which contains within it anything and everything which expands. Swami says expansion is love. Okay. That expansion, ability to expand ourselves and include everyone in this world, that is God. Okay. So that is Brahman. So divinity, many people say unity is divinity. It's one of the most misused quotes of Swami. That unity means it expands to encompass within it the entire universe. That is God. That unity is God. So Brahman is God. Brahman is always expand. Swami says expansion is love. So that concept of expansion is Brah. And Man means one who has that expand capability is God. So that is why the word has to be pronounced as Brahman. Then you understand what the meaning is, and you will be able to understand it will do something to you. That's all I will say. I hope that explains. There are many reasons I would say the Brahman is the right pronunciation, but we should not argue with people who pronounce otherwise. Saira. I hope that answers the question, Brother Vimalesan. I think Sister Aparna has a question.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very nice, very clear. Thank you.
Sairam. Sairam, Sister Aparna, please.
Sairam, in Swami's Ashtotram, we say Om Shri Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Babai Namaha, right?
Yes.
Or do we say Bhagavan?
No, it's Bhagavan.
Bhagavan. So we are
because I will explain to you why it is. See, Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Okay, to him we bow down. We are not calling out Bhagavan.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
there it is a pure noun. So it's Bhagavan is fine.
Okay.
But in the Suprabhatam, you are calling, Tava means you are addressing to him. Sri Satya Sai, Bhagavan, you're calling to him and say, please wake up.
Okay.
Actually, that's a divinity, we can discuss that. So there it is right. Because it is not the Sambodhana Vibhakti there. It is the Prathama Vibhakti, the first Vibhakti, which is plain noun. So that's where Bhagavan is right, sister.
Okay, thank you.
Sister Anita, you have a question, sister.
Yes, I'm going to call you Shriman Arun. Shriman, I have a question. In the chat, sister asked about Shastra Pranayam.
Yeah, it's Pramana.
Oh, it's Pramana. That's what confused me because it's written Pranayama. Okay.
Yeah, she thought it's Pranayama or something like that.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
Pramana.
Pramana. Okay.
Measure.
Okay.
Yardstick. That's what it is. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, sister. Yes, Sister Bhavani, please go ahead.
Sai Ram. Can you go to that Saraswati sloka, please?
Okay. Okay, Sai Ram.
Okay, that first word, I read it wrong. So I read it as Vida Rambam. So, but you said it's Vidya.
Yes, it is the third da and ya together is ya. The third da plus ya is Vidyarambam. I have the transliteration here if you want to see.
No, I saw that. I was trying to read without looking at that. And yes. I read it as Vida.
No, did you think it is the fourth da?
No, I knew that it's V plus the fourth da.
It is not the fourth da. It is the third. In the third varga, it's the third letter.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Plus, yeah.
But so where is the ud coming from? That ud with ud. Where is that here?
Okay, because I think last week I covered it. I'm just going to open last week's. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. 1 second, okay?
Okay.
Okay, can you see?
Yes.
We covered it last week. So the word is idya. So this is its compound. It's a compound letter. Okay, the second letter in Vidyarambam is idya. Idya. It comprises of id. That's the third letter in the Tavarga. E plus A. Idya comes out as that. Vidyarambam. Okay. Okay. Anyone else has? I think someone put a chat.
Sai Ram, this is Akwanti.
Yes, Auntie.
Brahmanda Nayaka or Brahmanda Nayaka?
It's
How do you pronounce that?
Brahma Anda Nayaka.
Okay, thank you, Saira.
I'm just sticking to Sanskrit. Okay, if people are pronouncing otherwise, it's not about this, but I'm just explaining the Sanskrit principle behind the word. And with that, I will stop. Each person can choose what and how they want to sing. Okay, sorry. Any other questions? Material, what was covered? You can let me know. I hope I did not cover too much and make it too complicated, because I introduced a few grammar concepts also. But I thought, we should make it, I should enrich the classes. And hopefully, you will get better value out of it. So somebody's asking for Shri meaning. Okay, I will repeat, I guess. I thought I covered that, but we'll look at Shri. Shri means everything divine. As soon as Shri is added to anything, that becomes divine. Even for human beings, we'll say Shriman, as Sister Anita was trying to call Shriman. We Shriman, Shrimati, we use these terms because we attribute divinity to people. But Shri means anything which is auspicious. It encompasses all the wealth in the world. God, everything. I think whatever if you want to, any positive attribute we want to attribute with Shri. Swami, this Ashta Lakshmi, Swami says, I think we started the Sanskrit class with that. Shabda Brahmamayi, Characharamayi, Jyotirmayi, Vangmayi, Nityandamayi, Paratparamayi, Mayamayi, Shrimayi. Okay, in the Ashta Lakshmi, Swami, this Shri is the supreme. It encompasses everything in this world. The Shri means divinity, that which never is destroyed, that which is all auspiciousness, that which encompasses all the wealth in this world. Everything is included in the word Shri. Lakshmi is called Shri itself. She herself is called Shri. So that is Lakshmi. The Shri is God, Brahman, everything is Shri. I hope that's my understanding. I think there are many discourses of Swami where Swami has talked about it. Okay. Actually, Brother Vimalesan asked a question. Shri also means poison. Shri Kanta. Shri Kanta. Okay. When divine takes, it becomes Shri. Halahala, even the poison, when it goes into the throat of Shiva, that also becomes auspicious. Why? Because that poison also creates something good in this world. Actually, the reality, God has created poison also in this world. That's why Shiva wears snakes. Serpents are his ornaments. That means even the bad things in this world can be used as good for us. So that Shri encompasses everything in this world, good, bad, and ugly. So Shri is also poison, as you said, brother. Shri Kanta means that Shri Kanta means one whose throat is auspicious. That means even when the poison goes there, it becomes auspicious. Okay. So people think poison has that meaning. Yes, possible. The poison which has been purified and made divinized by God is called Shri. It's my understanding. Shri Kanta is, yes, that's right. You are right. But in common parlance, its poison is also referred to that. Desire. So Shiva is God of all gods. Yes, Shiva, the auspiciousness, is the God of all gods. Nilakanta, so blue-throated one. Yes. It's 10:25. If there are any more questions, I will take. If not, okay. Otherwise, Sai Ram, sister. So if everyone is okay, then maybe we'll close. I think we have enough material to revise and look at. We will meet next week again. Okay, Sai Ram, everyone. We will close with Samasta Lokan Shanti. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.